everyone, and welcome to the Love Like Crazy podcast. We're your hosts, Jay and Stacey Coleman, and we're so glad that you've joined us today. We have special guests here, some of our friends that we're going to talk with today, and we're really excited about them being here. They are on our staff, Jeremy and Taylor Quintini, executive pastor and campus pastors of our second location. And so we're excited that they've joined us. And so, Jay.
All right. So, hey, this is going to be a lot of fun to do this interview today. I'm just going to go ahead and say it's probably going to be a little wild because we're going to talk about you guys managing a growing family. And before we get into talking, I just want to take a quick moment to thank all of our listeners for being a part of Love Like Crazy. And you guys, please help us grow this podcast. Like, subscribe, share, give us a review. And it's been a blast over the last several months, listening to different people as they talk about the podcast and whatnot. So I'm excited about this. I know, Jeremy, we're together every day, in the office and we work. You serve in the role as the executive pastor of the church. You manage the staff. You do a great job with that. Taylor, you're a business owner. Y'all actually have two businesses. You got a bridal business. Y'all have a business where y'all rent wedding equipment as well, or furniture, something of that nature. Yep. But y'all also took on a role about 2 years ago as the campus pastors of the Watson campus and have done a tremendous job there. That it's been a lot of fun to see that happen. So why don't y'all do this? I'm going to go ahead and throw the ball in y'all's court. Why don't y'all take a few moments? Tell us a little bit about the Quintini family. Tell us about, how about how y'all met?
Yeah, start from the beginning. We want to hear all about it.
We met in 2001, our junior year of high school. And it was at youth.
Yes, youth group.
And
now, were y'all in the same grade?
We were in the same grade,
yes.
But I went to the great school of East Jefferson High School. It's in the top 10 in the nation. That's a lie. Taylor went to is it the oldest active girls' school?
The oldest active girls' school in the nation.
Okay. Yeah. In New
Orleans
area.
In New Orleans.
Say it's in New Orleans.
Yes, we were the 275th graduating class.
Okay, so it's been around just a little while.
A lot of prestige, but Jeremy likes to just claim prestige from his public school in Metairie.
Well, we were warriors who were here in the country long before the nuns. So I'll just leave it at that. So, but yeah, we met in youth group our junior year, and we were just friends. Actually, she was friends with my sister.
I really befriended his sister, who is an introvert. She's totally opposite from Jeremy, but we really hit it off. Had a great time together. So we met then back in 2001. We did not start dating till 2007.
Really?
Okay, so you knew each other for a while.
Yeah. And got married in 2008. We were definitely friends first.
We were friends first. We went, actually, she needed a date to her senior prom.
Yes.
And you said, I'm the man for the job.
There was no one better looking in the youth group.
She couldn't find a date, so you were the last.
That was it. She asked everybody, and they all
Which
said
version
no.
is true?
No. But she's friends with my sister, and my sister was like, hey, ask my brother.
Yeah.
So that was our first...
She actually said, and I quote,
I don't know.
Take my brother. You could be my sister-in-law. But actually, because it was an all-girls school, they required you to have a male date to even go. So no girls were going. It couldn't just be a girl dance because it would just be girls. And it was prom. So I did ask him.
It was fun. I took a Corvette. It was awesome.
It was fun.
Friend of mine let me take a Corvette, picked her up.
Yeah.
And actually, I drove an old nasty van to pick her up. And she's like, there better be something different. And anyway, there was a Corvette. It was just a joke. But
so you pulled out all the stops to win her heart.
So you've been a jokester since the
beginning.
beginning.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Not then. We were definitely in the friend zone at that point. There was like kind of flirtatiousness, I would say. Yep. We were just beginning to get to know each other.
Okay.
And then we started in Bible school at Christ for the Nations in Dallas. We both decided to go there separately. We did not go together.
She was actually upset when she found out I was going. She was upset. And I was like, well, you don't own a school, girl. Like, get out of here. She wanted to just get away from everything.
She was trying to get away from you.
And
maybe. And I
kept following me.
Yeah, the Lord had some interesting steps for us both. But we went to school there. I actually moved out of the country. She stayed, finished her degree. I came back, and then we started dating in about 2000.
Well, And
7?
yeah, that's right.
That fast forwards through a lot
of things.
days.
The one thing I'll add is one of the reasons we didn't start dating sooner probably is because there was flirtatiousness. The second week I started college, my dad passed away unexpectedly and I was 18.
Right.
And so I really went through a period of just like grief and all this kind of stuff where it really wasn't the time to start anything. So we kind of ebbed back and forth on who was interested in who.
I remember I asked her out on a
years.
date in my way.
Which was
okay,
what was the date?
Let me stop
This
and
is
let
how-
all the listeners know.
Please tell us.
If you don't know Jeremy, he is a jokester. That's why we get along so well, because he's you never know what's gonna happen. So.
Yes, so I asked her, I said, hey, do you want to go to IHOP? It is the greatest breakfast place.
Waffle House.
Like I said,
For
IHOP.
us, it's
To all the
Waffle House.
listeners.
Waffle House.
At least you get
This
IHOP.
episode is brought to you today by Waffle House.
Maybe IHOP. I don't know. So I said, hey, you want to go to IHOP? It was like at the end of a service or something. And she said, yeah, who's going? And I said, oh, well, maybe just you and I. And she said, no, I don't, that's okay. You can take my car if you want. And I was like,
That's awesome.
okay.
Okay, in my defense, he did not have a
I
vehicle,
didn't have
and
a
I
vehicle.
thought it was a need. Like I thought he was hungry, and he was not using me for my car, but was like, "Hey, it'd be great," but he needed a car to get there.
But then we fast forward a couple of weeks. Same scenario. I asked her again, hey, you want to go to IHOP 2 times in a row? And she said, yeah, who's going? And I said, just me. And she said, no, that's okay. Here's the keys of my car. And I was like,
Wow.
Dang.
I was
Striking
going
out.
through a lot.
Dude,
I was going
she was
through
going
a
through
lot
some stuff.
internally.
And I was like, hey, you want to be friends? And she's like, no, I'm going to go home and
Pray.
Pray. Yeah,
what it
she
I
was.
don't even want to be friends with you.
Yeah. But that was the interesting thing, about us is we both really did have our eyes on the Lord. We weren't really seeking relationships like that. It was a
Yeah.
little bit organic
Mhm.
for us. Neither one of us dated. And so anyway, we started dating in 2000 and whatever. Got married February 29th, 2008.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
so y'all been married for 15 years?
15 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't it? And how long have y'all been married?
31.
31.
31. Doesn't it feel like, oh my
It
gosh,
does. It goes by so
we
fast.
just did that.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it when you blink, you get married, you blink, then you got kids, and you blink again, and they're
Yeah.
gone. Praise the Lord.
Yeah.
They're not there yet. That's
We're
what
not
we're going to
there
talk
yet.
about.
Okay, well, y'all got a
I may
while.
need therapy when that
Joel
happens.
is 2,
Two.
Joel's
so
2.
yeah, I've got a little while.
The
Wait a
baby.
minute. I don't remember this. I got rejected. Did she reject you in the
She
beginning?
asked me out.
Is that-
She did.
All right.
Listen to the episode about our love story. and
She
you can find
asked
out
her-
all about it.
She
I
said,
actually did
she
listen,
came
I
up to
know
me
it.
and she said, "Do you want to go to Waffle House?"
No, I did not.
That would be hilarious.
If you had asked me to Waffle House, I probably would have said no.
Yeah, she actually we got to talking, and she said, hey, look, I'm enjoying talking with you.
Mhm.
Would you like to maybe go out? And I'm like, well, I kind of have a girlfriend. And she was
Oh,
like,
that's
well, do
right.
you think that she would mind if we went out as friends? And I'm like, probably not. So
No girl would mind that, surely.
here we are, 30. Well, that was 33 years
It
ago.
all worked
so-
out.
I won. All
Wow.
right.
There
Yeah.
you go.
That's
Yeah.
that.
That was boldness from the Lord.
It
Just-
was.
The girl, sweet as she can be, great family. She's married and has lots of kids, so she doesn't mind.
She doesn't mind.
She doesn't
She's
mind.
good with it.
She's good. She's good.
She's fine.
I'm glad I
She's
got
fine.
you. I'm glad I kept you. Okay.
Okay, so enough about us. Let's go back
Okay,
to y'all.
yeah.
So y'all, so you start dating, you get engaged, you've been married for 15 years
Mhm.
now. I know that you went to college together, but
Yep.
then after you came back from the missions field, you got a job and you started working with Reinhard Bunke.
Yep.
Yeah.
Worked there. It was amazing for about 4 years.
Mhm.
And it was a phenomenal time.
So we
in
were
Orlando.
married 6 months, living in New Orleans.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
And they called right at 6 months. Hey, we've got a job for you. Would you want to come? And so we left and moved to Orlando.
And the entire time, correct me if I'm wrong, the entire time y'all were in Orlando, you worked out in New Orleans still.
I did.
She did.
I did, which is a really wild story.
Especially for back then. Nobody
back
nobody,
then,
Nobody,
nobody
did
was
that
working
then.
remotely yet, especially with what I was doing with weddings and stuff in New Orleans. So essentially, I went in to quit because I was like, well, this is my husband and he's got a job and we've got to move. And I was just going to figure out a job. And the owner was like, why don't we just see if this can work for a while? And I was like, really shocked. And I thought, that's gracious. They're just giving me time to find a job. It went on the entire 4 years.
Yep.
We were in Orlando.
Longer, yeah.
Even after y'all moved here,
Yeah.
you did it for about a year.
For a little bit, yeah. So it was
Okay.
great. And again, I'm an only child. My mom was a widow. And so 1 week out of the month, I'd fly in, stay with her,
Mhm.
work in the office, and then just go back to Orlando, work from home or travel with him. So it was a really exciting time.
Well, it was probably good for you and your mom both as
Yes,
well.
it was
So-
nice. It was a blessing.
And it was also good for me because I got to hang out with my boys,
That's
Carlos and
right.
Nathan.
That's
you know,
I
so
got to do all the boy things.
Okay.
so we were
y'all-
out there for about 4 years, and then obviously we met you and moved out here.
Well, and the story goes that we met you because of a turkey. Well, we met you at a conference, but
Yeah.
I
Yep.
said we need to hire this guy because of a turkey
Through a
sandwich.
mutual friend.
Turkey sandwich, yeah.
Oh, a turkey sandwich.
We were at this conference. My wife was hungry. There was a super long line to get food, and I'm like, I'm not waiting in that line. I'm sorry.
There's an episode about that.
Yeah, there's an episode about dealing with selfishness. I'm like, you just get here, eat a Tic Tac, and
Jeez,
about
Tic Tac.
15
Jeez,
minutes
thanks.
later, Jeremy, hands up, a plate lunch to my wife, had a turkey sandwich in, and he's like, I think actually you said I got two.
It was
in case
two,
you wanted
yeah.
one or the other. And I was
I
just
know
like,
you gave
wow.
the options. I
two.
remember that, Jeremy.
And
That
it was
very
such a
sweet of you.
blessing to you
Uh-huh.
that you were like, man, who is this guy? We got to get to know him better. Lo and behold,
Y'all need to pay me back for that, by the way. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking.
I'll make you a turkey
I'll
sandwich.
make you a turkey sandwich. I'm kidding. No, yeah. So we met obviously then, and 6 months later, I found myself here in Baton Rouge in Central, and it's been a great ride.
You've been with us now, January, I think 11 years.
October.
October.
Is 11
It's 11
years.
years.
Wow.
Wow.
I know.
Talk
See,
about
that goes by
Yeah,
fast,
it goes-
too.
I
Very
know.
fast. Very
Especially the way our
fast.
lives have changed.
Yeah.
The church has changed so much, and just it's been a great ride.
Well, and I know that y'all had a heart to have a growing, thriving family, and y'all kind of, there were some issues early on.
Yep.
And once y'all got here, I don't know if it was, something in the water or just the anointing of the Lord.
Yeah.
But once y'all started having babies, you never stopped. Or
Well,
Eternally pregnant.
maybe now. Yeah, you were
Yes.
Maybe
pregnant for
now
about-
they
Yeah.
stopped.
Well, that was interesting because, and maybe you can talk to this, but we had no, what shall I say? We had no problems with kids. Like, we wanted to have kids.
That's good.
We were
We
fine with getting
never
pregnant whenever.
Did birth control. Like, we're like, hey, if we want kids, like, come on, let's. And then after, some time, we're like, well, what's going on? She starts going to the doctors, and they're like, yeah, not too sure you're going to have kids. And that was
Mhm.
one report we got.
Yeah, they had diagnosed me with PCOS, and I had a miscarriage, kind of during the time. And it got to be a longer process, like about 4 years, about the whole time we were in Orlando, kind of realizing that and then struggling with it. And so we came to a transition point where we knew we were coming here. And I was kind of like, gosh, I'm going to have to find a new doctor, get established. And so I honestly truly gave it up at that point, which took years, and I really gave it to the Lord. And I was like, okay, God, well, I have to, I just wasn't worried about trying at that point. Cause like I said,
Yeah.
I knew we were going to have to get a new doctor and our life was going to change with moving. And 2 weeks after we got here, biggest shock ever.
Yes.
So,
Lo and
Yes.
behold.
and we almost named the baby.
Yeah, we almost named him London.
Yeah.
Because y'all went
Because
on
you were in London.
We were in Europe.
well, let me
Somewhere.
If you need a child, go to London.
I remember that, we talk about you coming to work for us. And when we came to y'all prayed about it, we prayed about it and said, yeah, this is something we're going to do. And then you said, hey, listen, if we've always wanted to take a trip, we've been saving towards this European
yeah.
trip.
And you told him, take it
Yeah,
now.
I said, you need to go do that now. And, it was one of those things like you kicked off your,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you're working at, or you took a
So
vacation.
we could thank you for our family.
Thank you.
We
Thank you,
appreciate
Pastor
you.
Jay.
We should have named Judah Jay.
That's right. Should have.
Judah's a pretty good name, but it's like go to London,
got
go
the
to
J.
wherever and have a great
But
time.
honestly, it was so nice. We took 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we went to London, Paris, and Italy, 3 cities in Italy, and it's hard to do that in the middle of a job. So
Yeah.
And if
that
you have kids.
transition, yes,
Worked
also
great.
So
true.
it was
Yeah.
perfect.
So the transition
Right.
season to do that was a real blessing.
You able to just go on a trip, relax, and get pregnant.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
Do all of
and
that before you have your family. That's
Yeah.
right.
good.
now
That's
I did
right.
get in trouble because when y'all came back and I think we were one of the first ones y'all told
Oh.
that you were
Yes,
having a
you
baby.
did get in trouble.
And
Tell 'em about
I
that.
got so excited about it. I shared the news at the annual Serve Team Christmas party. Wasn't it the Serve Team
It
Christmas
was.
party?
It was
at
a
the-
service.
yeah, it was a Serve
you
Team Christmas
announced
party.
it that they were having a baby, and
And there was like 300 people there, and Taylor was scrambling to let the family know
Because
because
we didn't tell everybody. Yeah.
Yeah.
We hadn't told every single
and
person.
we
yet.
said it was supposed to be a secret
And
still.
so
You
Taylor
weren't
went and
saying anything.
disabled the.
I disabled Facebook.
No, I remember what you said. You said,
No.
"Hey, we have some great news," because we're sitting in the back. We were
Mhm.
serving, doing something, and you said, "Hey, can I tell them?" And I was like,
You were like,
thumbs
up, thumbs down?
What?
Okay. Yeah, that was great.
Did you give him the thumbs up?
I think I was just
we were
like,
just both
Well,
like,
You didn't even wait for the
sure.
thumbs up, and you
I'm
just
like,
he was so
they're
excited.
having a baby. I was so excited. It's
Yeah.
like having a grandbaby or something.
Yep.
but I
the
did.
cool-
I disabled Facebook.
Yeah,
so
you
in
had-
case somebody posted my aunt wins it or
Yeah, we're
something.
like, we got to let our family know
Yeah.
about this. Coincidentally, for the other 4 children after that, y'all have not shared it with me
No,
first.
that's true.
You're
You are
like,
the
we're gonna
last
hold back
person
till
that they
you're the
tell.
last
No, I
person
think-
to know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Regardless, it's exciting to watch you guys over these 11 years to see Judah now is 10 years old
Yeah.
and these kiddos growing up and just loving the Lord and to see
Mhm.
your growing family.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's been-
awesome.
I know on our part, it's been a lot of fun. So let's talk.
But tell us a little bit about your kids, like their ages and so forth,
Yeah.
because they're all close in age.
Yes. So I was going to say our second biggest surprise when I got pregnant with our second Maggie, because Judah was 5 months old.
hmm Yeah, we kind of had that
Yeah,
happen.
yeah,
We had ours real
yeah.
close together.
It's wild. And in my mind, because it took so long to get pregnant the first time, I thought, gosh, it takes 4 years again. That's where my head was. So it was
Took
just
4 months.
Yeah.
surprise.
You know what I love about that though is to see Judah and Maggie. They're as close as they
Oh,
are.
definitely.
They're
mean,
besties.
yeah.
They
And
really are.
It's a blessing to watch them interact with each
Even
other.
he maybe one day he won't like me sharing this, but I'll go in their room in the morning and he's like going in her bed, getting under the covers, like snuggling with her. I'm like, dude,
He's cold.
get in your room. Yeah,
or-
he's cold and she's warm. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
20
is
years from now,
hilarious.
he's
Yeah.
going to be like, I don't ever want to hear that
Thanks,
podcast
God.
again.
Yeah. 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 They're definitely best friends, which is really
Yeah.
sweet to see. So Judah's 10. Maggie is going to be 9 in a month. And Caroline just made 7. So they're about 22 months apart. And then Vivian just made 5.
Vivian's the perfect one.
Vivian, if you know us, you know
She's
sweet
only
Vivian.
The Bible says all have sinned. Pretty sure she's only sinned once. You know, maybe twice.
She has
And
the
she
sweetest
repented
little.
immediately.
Yeah,
Minor
yeah.
things.
She has the sweetest little voice. too.
Yes, a very sweet spirit. So they're 18 months apart. She just made 5. And then Joel is 2. So that's actually our biggest age gap is from child 4 to child 5. That's 3 years.
Because you thought you might be done, but then
Oh, we thought we
surprise,
were
That
done.
COVID
Yeah.
baby.
We
and
thought we were done.
I
Yeah.
was like,
Put y'all together, isolate you with the
wow.
family during COVID. And it's like,
Everybody got COVID. I mean, we had COVID, and she couldn't leave me alone.
Oh,
I guess
stop
I
it.
don't know,
Well,
but
actually, we have some good news to share with her. Should know, yes.
Mm.
you can
with
do
our
it.
listeners.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We're about to
no.
get a dog, so yeah, that's the good
There
news.
will be no more babies. We took a trip during COVID actually to the mountains just to stay away from everyone. And Vivian was actually like done potty training and we hiked with our kids in the mountains. We just did things that we had
Couldn't
never been
normally
able to
do,
do
right.
because they'd all been so little. We're like, this is amazing. We had the best time. So we came home and we're at home. We threw all the baby stuff out. We really
Oh,
did.
man.
We were like, we're done. We're good. And then that summer.
But you know, the funny thing is, in all seriousness, I prayed, and you knew
Yes.
this. I prayed multiple times because I had 1 boy, 3 girls, and I prayed and I said, Lord, give me another son.
Mhm.
I prayed that multiple
and
times.
so did Judah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
because he wanted a
Yeah.
brother. He
He
was
wanted a brother.
outnumbered.
probably, I mean, a
Understand
dozen
that.
sincere times.
Yeah.
And so I don't know why I was so shocked. It was, I definitely, the Bible says in Psalms 127 that children are an inheritance, right? It says that children are a reward. Like,
Yeah.
this is,
Mhm.
hey, look, in a sense, you can say, man, you're pleasing to the Lord. Here's a reward for your life. I'm
Mhm.
giving you this image bearer. So for me, it was a shock because I'm like, oh my gosh, like 5 kids. Like I had thought about it, but then it was like, I mean, you know how it is.
Yeah.
You're like, Lord, you really did it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
about-
yeah. There's a miracle. Wow. And so it's been great. And so, we named him Joel. And the rest is kind of history.
Mhm.
Well, I love watching you. I love having your kids in the office because they always bring so much, energy into the office.
Yeah.
They're kids, and that's what I love about them is just to see them being kids.
Yeah.
I got to say this, Vivian. I've told y'all this before. She just lights up a room when she comes in. Judah, Maggie, I just love having conversations with them because they'll have a full on conversation with you. I love watching Caroline with Joel toting them around, little mama, and then Joel's just there like, "Hey, what's up?" So
I'm the baby.
He's got a lot of
I'm the
moms.
baby.
That's the thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
yep.
I love
He's going to be
watching
well
y'all's
cared
kids
for
interact.
his whole life.
That's right.
Well, tell us a little bit about how do you manage
Mm.
like this large growing family, the scheduling.
How long is this podcast? 2 hours?
Well, because you
Okay,
do
give us the
have
condensed
your,
version.
You do have your business that you manage.
Yeah.
Weddings Tailor Made. Is that? Did I get it right?
You
Okay.
got it.
And then y'all have your business where y'all rent furniture for weddings and whatnot.
Yes.
But you're a stay-at-home mom. I mean, you
Yes.
do that,
Yes.
on the side, but you
Yes.
predominantly are a stay-at-home
Right.
mom.
And
So-
actually, that was why I even got into any of those things. Is I realized I would like to be the one to be with them when they're little and raise them and just have that relationship with them. Our families don't live here. We kind of came without family or anything. So that was a decision we made early on. And the businesses are really what allowed me to do that and be able to achieve that. So
Wow, I like that. And now Jeremy can escape to the office.
Yes,
It's
he
and he
does.
does often.
he reads his Bible in the office
a
alone.
lot.
Yeah.
So, but you are at home with the babies.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the management of the household. How do y'all I know we had 3 and it was busy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I can
Especially
only.
when you have like sports or like I know your girls run
Mhm.
dance
Mhm.
and making sure you have family time,
Yeah.
family dinner
Yeah.
together, the importance of that.
So we probably
It's
have
hard.
families listening that have young children.
Mm-hmm.
What would you tell them as far as management? What does that look like in y'all's household? And any advice you might be able to give?
Yeah.
The quick thing I'll say is you have to fight for it. Like it's
Mhm.
not something that comes easy or comes natural. It's not like, oh, we're going to have these great family dinners at home and then have plenty of time to do everything else we need to do. Like anything we do with intention or purposefulness to
Right.
love our children, teach them, disciple them, it's like we have to fight for that time, honestly. So,
For me, and it's the same thing, there's a lot to say about intentionality. Y'all have talked about that on the podcast before. The Bible says, in Matthew 6, seek first the kingdom of God. That's intentionality. Colossians, whatever you do, do to the glory of God. That's intentionality. Psalms 90, it says, if the years of our lives are 70 years, and if by reason of strength they're 80, but it boasts in labor and sorrow, soon it's cut off and we fly away. Then it says, so teach us to number our days that we might present to you a heart of understanding. And so I think that, with all the intentionality that God has placed upon our shoulders, that we need to be intentional with our kids. So how we practically do that is, I'll tell you a hard decision that we just recently made. That literally in a sense, I would say it was almost like depressing for me to even talk about it. And I'm not naturally a depressed person, but just sports, it's so much,
It'll consume your life.
it will
Yes.
consume your life. And it has, and it really has. And I'm like wrestling with this because the culture and just not even necessarily the culture, well, certainly the culture, but just Judah and his friends. And it's just, oh man,
Fun.
we're playing this.
yeah.
And I want him to do it, but he's been playing football for 5 years and he's good. And I told him, I said, Judah, I'm really, really praying about not letting you play football this year. We'll take a year off, maybe, and just do. And he said, well, what are we going to do? I said, nothing.
Mhm.
He was like, okay. And he kind of got a little upset. He's starting to tear up. Like, he's like, Dad, I want to play football. And I'm like, yeah, but I think it'll be better for our family. And again, intentionality, And so for us to not do that, man, it was a proud dad moment. We all have those, even if it's few and far in between. It's like, all right, I see a little light.
He came to the conclusion.
Yeah, he
with
came
you.
to he said, and this is the next conversation. He said, Dad, I know whatever you choose is going to be right, and we're going to do well. I said, okay, so we're not going to play football. And really the purpose there is for the structure of our family, because we both it's always weighing on our minds that we have one shot at raising our kids, and we want to be incredibly diligent with that. And so you're really doing it. We're going to substitute football for more Bible study and more nights of worship, which we already do. And I just want it more rather than.
And we have to constantly assess, like, we only have so much time,
Right.
bottom
That's
line.
true.
And then it's spread between 5 or 7 people, however you look at it, right? They're in school for how many hours, and so time is so limited. And we have put our oldest 2 in piano, and now our third is starting. She's 7 and she's ready, which is exciting. But that is an activity, for instance, that Jeremy and I have both come to an agreement and assessed, like, this is valuable. Like, you can play piano the rest of
That's
your
a
life.
lifelong.
You can be on the worship team.
It's
at
true.
church.
Lord willing. Yeah.
I think they're ready. Honest, Judah volunteered to be a drummer on
did.
Sunday, just
Oh,
so you
well,
know,
I
at the
would
serve
pull
team
him
meeting.
in.
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
That's wonderful.
I don't
He's
know
ready.
if he's ready. Well,
You might not be ready, but he's
yeah.
ready.
It won't be long.
won't
He'll
be
be
long.
ready.
But to us, it's just like the discipline that's teaching and the way their mind is working and the skill set. You can be a lawyer and play the piano. Like,
right.
you can use that the rest of your life. And so that is for us, like, almost our best yes. Like, we want to invest in that. We're good with it. We're good with when the practice of it happens, and it's important to us, so we'll keep it there. And then the thing is, there's just always an opportunity to do something.
Yeah.
Always. Yeah.
So kind of assessing the value and what you want to do and what you don't.
Well, I think it's wise to pick things like that'll be lifelong skills within their life, a gift.
Mm-hmm.
My parents gave me the option. I took piano lessons for about 2 weeks. And I remember them, hey, you can take piano lessons or you can play baseball, because baseball season was coming up. And I remember picking baseball, which, I mean, what, 8, 9-year-old boy would not.
Right.
And I look back on it now and I'm like, I really wish I'd stuck with the piano lessons, because
Especially since you married me.
That's
And I
right.
played
Y'all
the
could have been
piano.
a duo.
I married you because you play the piano,
Oh,
and
that's
so you
why?
can play it for me. So
Okay.
I think what you were asking, as far as, like, for us, it's about structure. Really is sprung from values.
Mm-hmm.
It's like what you value, and it's from that place that we begin to put the pieces in place, so that, like the door hinges, everything will open smoothly.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's
well, it's funny because a lot of times parents, we want our kids to have fun.
Yeah.
The mindset also is, I want my kids to have better than what I had.
Right.
Right.
Sure.
And, so we pick all these things that we see in culture, sports, dance, gymnastics, all these extracurricular activities. And then that schedule begins to control our family.
oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And you see so many people missing out on so much
Right.
because that schedule controls their
Right.
lives.
Yep.
Whereas if you make the decision, and it's hard, it is very hard
Yeah.
because there is peer pressure, there are
Yep.
all these other things. But
And
if
you want them to do it too.
exactly, because the dad, I mean, who
Right.
doesn't want their
You're
son to
right.
play
Yeah.
football?
Yeah.
But it's like, if I can do this and make this decision, what is best for my family, it'll be
Right.
valuable,
Yep.
not just then, but for the long haul as well.
Yeah.
I think back when we were growing up, the mindset, I want my family and my kids to have better than what I had.
Yeah.
We sat down as a family whenever I was a kid every night and ate dinner together.
Right.
Every night we
Yeah,
prayed
It's
together
expected.
and all these things. And I'm like, that was a pretty good life.
Absolutely.
So a lot of times we look at where we are in culture right now and think, oh, it's so good.
Right.
There's a lot we're missing
That's
out
right.
on
Yep.
that,
That's
that
right.
we've kind of let go by the wayside.
Mhm.
Well, and two, I think it's being intentional,
Yep.
like you were saying, and where your priorities are at. I know our rule with our boys was that, okay, if they did play sports, it was one sport
Yeah.
at a time.
Right.
And I remember our middle son, Bryce, when he was in high school, he was playing basketball, which I loved him playing basketball.
Mhm.
But then he also wanted to play lacrosse.
Mhm.
Well, that was fine. But there was a 3-week time where it crossed.
Mhm.
And he said, Mom, this is too much. He wanted to quit one. And I said,
Yeah.
okay, it's only for a short season. We're going to finish our commitment,
Yeah.
because he was learning good skill, teamwork, and, just trying to teach him some lessons there. But we never did 2
Yeah.
sports at the same
Yeah.
time again, because it was too overwhelming. We just didn't have enough time in the
Sure.
day. And you have
Yep.
to be intentional to prioritize what is the most important,
Right.
because you want them to be able to do certain things and
Yeah.
be involved and learn those, team aspect lessons
Right.
and stuff like that. But yeah, each family needs to pray and seek the Lord
That's right.
to wear what is
And
best for them.
I really have felt just a grace from the Lord to have the realization of not every decision is forever.
Mhm.
So even if
Yeah.
you're
Could
in
be
a
this season,
season where
yes.
it's been super chaotic, telling your kids no to something for a year. I mean, who
Mhm.
knows? Judah may join that team next
Yeah.
year. We don't know.
Or
We're
he
not
might
making a hard
come
thing.
into finding something
The
else.
drums.
That's right.
The drums. The drums.
Busy
When he
with
joins
drums.
the worship
I
team.
am cheering for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But sometimes, if your family has just felt almost out of control and chaos, telling them no for a year is probably really not going to
Right.
mess up their life. And it might just be grace to you to have a quiet season with them and do something different and decide
Like
what you
a
rejoin.
time of recalibrating things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And just analyzing what, got to have enough time. We got to have enough margin
That's right.
to our day so that
Mhm.
because our kids can get overwhelmed and overstimulated when they have
Wow.
too much to do. And then we don't want them to grow up and be, constantly needing to
Yeah.
have something to fill their time.
Right.
Right. Well, we're talking about the kids and the busyness and all that. Let's talk about y'all. How do y'all, in a household of 7, you got 5 children, how do y'all make time for each other? Like, what are some things that y'all do to build your marriage, to make it stronger, make it healthy? What are the things that
We leave them home alone and we just go.
You just lock the door and you
lock the
head out.
doors. We duct tape them to their beds. No.
That's great.
How do we find? So, again, I think it's about intentionality and structure. 2 things that I think are flowing well in our life right now. But we're the crazy parents when it comes to bedtime.
Yes.
Even in the summer. And again, it's about our
Well,
purpose.
you have a
behind
lot
that.
of them
Yep.
That's
to
right.
wrangle
That's
together.
right.
So they all go to bed at 8:00. So
Sharp.
anywhere from, at times we'll be like, all right, 7:45
Yeah.
is when we'll start working to bed. So then,
Mhm.
and honestly, I think we do a great job.
Mhm.
If I could pat myself on the back for anything, it's like, man, we've done a good job with that bedtime. By 8:15, for the most part, they're done.
Yeah.
They don't get up and they're not, bugging us and all this other things of, when it's bedtime.
Mhm.
Although they all are dehydrated and they're ready to die
Every child.
the moment they have to go to bed,
They're
right?
thirsty
Or they're
or
hungry.
hungry.
They're hungry,
So
yeah.
thirsty.
But I think we've done a good job. That's just our norm.
Yeah.
And the reason we do that is so that we can spend time
Yeah.
together, because the mornings are hard.
Yeah.
Kids wake up super early and then it's just, they're there in our
Mhm.
face. And we love that. That's the reward we get. We get to have them for the season. But, for the most
Mhm.
part,
if they go to bed at 8:00 sharp, do they wake up fairly early?
they actually are really good
7?
sleepers. They
Okay.
sleep 7:00.
I know sometimes you do come in the office and you're tired because they keep you up.
Yeah.
They may, of course, it's when you got littles,
Yep.
it's a little bit different. They might wake up in the middle of the night.
That's
You're
right.
in bed and you wake up and they're standing there staring at you.
That's
It's
right.
like,
That's Dude, one of the
Screaming.
funniest stories, I got to tell this story. One of the funny stories, whenever Judah was our first child, he had just learned that he could climb out of the crib before he could walk.
Mhm.
He climbs out the crib, he
Middle of the
crawls up
night.
the side of our bed. And I remember, because I'm like, I hear it and I sit up. Taylor opens her eyes. He freaks her out. She slaps him right across the face.
I did.
Boom!
I
And she smacked the little baby and he's crying. I was like, Taylor, she was like, oh my gosh, that freaked me
I
out.
felt
New
terrible.
mom just saw a face and just
But
get
in
away
my
from me.
mind, there was no way it
was
could
a
be
criminal,
him because how did he
No.
get to our room? Well,
you wake up and
I
there's a
learned
burglar in
she's-
your face.
staring at me.
That
you know?
burglar's going to get slapped.
That was, yeah. That was literally like,
Yeah,
wow, wait,
I still
we
laugh
really have
about
a
that.
kid?
Yeah.
This thing can move on its
Yeah.
own? What?
Come find us.
Oh, man.
Learning curve.
Yeah.
So y'all are
beginning.
intentional to make time.
Oh, we are. And honestly, it's like the kids need that structure. They need it. They need sleep. They need all those things. But and you'll hear people say, yeah, I should have a date night once a week. And we were in a lot of seasons where that just wasn't feasible for us.
Yeah.
Like we didn't have the help. We didn't have the budget. We couldn't carve out the time in our schedule, whatever it was. And especially with having more littles, we needed to be there to get them to
Yep.
bed. We couldn't rely on a babysitter to get 4 kids to bed on
Right.
time.
Right.
So it's all fine. But again, that time we pretty much get every evening really makes a difference for us.
Yeah, so we genuinely spend an hour, 2 hours
Mhm.
exclusively to ourselves. And
Yeah.
it's awesome.
That's wonderful.
At times we play games. We've watched, different shows and different. I mean, we have a great time and I love it.
Yeah.
So basically, y'all have a date night every night.
Every night.
I mean, basically, yeah.
Okay, put the kids to bed.
Man, we sound
You know.
glamorous.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's really the case, but yeah.
Well, every
somewhat
parent
like
needs
that.
to decompress.
That's
so
right.
Yep.
you have intentionally
That's
put
our
that
time.
into
yeah.
action. That's good.
Absolutely.
And it's
Absolutely.
coveted. That's why it's like, all right,
We're
it's,
both on
I
a
have
mission
given
to
you
do it.
Go to
kids,
bed.
12
Yeah,
hours of this
that's
day.
right.
Right now, you're done.
Yeah, that's right. And they know it too. I feel like they know it. And it's funny, as the kids are getting older, they sometimes love a babysitter to come over. I'll do pizza, like an easy dinner
That's
for
a
them or whatever.
free fun time.
That's right. They're like, what are we going to do? So Maggie would be like, Mom, I think you and Dad should go spend some time together and go out to dinner. Like she just comes up with this great idea. But I love that too, because with being a stay-at-home mom, I mean, honestly, there's days where we've
You
got
need a break,
4 days
yeah.
in sweatpants and just surviving, and I'll put on makeup. Where are you going, Mom? I'm like, oh yeah, it's nice to be an adult. Like you forget, what you used to do. And so our chances to get away too have been really nice.
I can tell you though, and you hear this from everybody, enjoy each season
Mhm.
because
Oh, yes.
it's so quickly you
It
move
goes
into
by
the
so
next one.
fast.
Yeah.
So
It does.
Well, I just want to ask y'all, because I know that there are a lot of families that are listening to this, watching this on YouTube, that may be at the place where they do have littles.
Yeah.
So what is what advice? What are some just nuggets of advice maybe you would give out?
For the littles? Well, like we said, I think the structure is so important for them and for you. Grace for yourself. There is a really funny kind of reel going around right now, and it started because this woman filmed everything she does before kids wake up, and she gets up and she works out, and then she takes a cold shower and she gets herself ready, like does all this stuff. So then somebody does a spoof off of it, and it's like what I do before my kids wake up, and it's her like snoring and drooling on the pillow, But I know even just with myself, we had 3 under 3. And what that meant at that point in time honestly meant I couldn't, let's say, crush it like I used to. What I could produce in terms of work or just for me personally kind of was really held back in different seasons because my energy and focus was on them,
Right.
and giving yourself grace in that because we can be our own worst critics, so harsh, and then we convince ourselves, well, this is just our life now. It's going to be forever. And like you said, it's certainly
It's
not.
just a season.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Good
I think
season.
like for me, it says in Genesis, in the image of God, he created them male and female. And so we have these little image bearers in our lives. They,
Mhm.
Again, they're the gift. I've said it a few times on this episode, but they're image bearers of God. And my thing that I would love to just remind everyone is that we are raising the future. And so, and they're kids, and they're sinners. They're filled. And as they grow, they're going to be filled with more sin. Their hearts are going to deceive themselves, and it's like we've got to plead with the Lord for their lives. But I like what Taylor said is having grace with them. They're image bearers. We're raising up godly offspring for the Lord. And in the middle of all of that, it's like we've got to have grace with them while they continue to sin. But then the goal is to raise them up as those arrows. Again, that's still Psalms 127, as little arrows that we could launch out into the world to be productive members of society, to be a part of a church, to be influential in society, Lord willing, and to just be raised that one day, when we're old and gray, it says our children will rise up and call us blessed. And that's the hope.
Yeah.
And so I think that at the end of the day, we're raising image bearers, and it's like, man, remember, these people are made in the image of God. Raise them to the glory of God.
And just to add that it's never too young to start talking to them. I think sometimes we wait like, oh, they're just toddlers, and wait till they get older and can understand more to talk about scripture and I didn't even tell you this, but we ran errands last night, and Maggie's in the backseat with Joel. So she's almost 9. He's 2. And he's learning to count, hold up his fingers and say the numbers. She's literally like teaching him the Trinity.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Now, she didn't always know that, but as she's gotten older, this is something. And so, of course, he's doing it. He's repeating whatever it is she's saying. And just even seeing that little reminder that they are really never too young to hear the gospel, see the gospel, played out and understand these things. as
Disciple
littles.
them where they are at the age
Yes.
that they are
Right.
all the way
Yes.
through.
Right.
Yes.
So-
It's wonderful.
Well, I've enjoyed this time together. I think it's fun to sit and talk with you guys and kind of see where you
Yeah,
are
thank you for having
in
Thank
the
us.
you.
season of life. Do you have anything you want to add? Any other questions?
I think it's wonderful. We'll keep praying for you and your growing family.
Thank
For
you.
for those of you who have not yet listened to, and you're gonna have to remind me, but it's Sex, Love, and Rock and Roll.
Oh man.
I just listened to it and it was
Throwback
hilarious.
Well,
episode.
thank you, Jeremy.
Yeah,
for listening
and honestly, like this is the second time. So you told me, I don't remember what it was. Oh, cut the grass. You were like, no, you need to get Judah. Remember not long ago, he encouraged me to get Judah to cut the grass, and I was like, you're right. This dude's 10 years old. It's time.
Put them
Push
to
a
work.
lawnmower.
Well, the whole thing with like, hey, you know, at different stages, you were talking about when you were talking to your sons about sex and different things, and I'm like, oh my gosh,
It's
my son's
time.
10.
I'm there.
It's
Oh,
It's like
Lord.
all of a sudden you start beating up with
Yeah,
sweat.
yeah. I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
That
So,
came quicker than I thought.
Yes,
Yeah.
it does. So
It's
anyway,
true.
if you hadn't listened to it, check it out.
Thank you for
Well,
that.
let me ask you
Plug.
this real quick. People, where can they find you guys at? They want to connect with you.
Yeah. On Instagram and on Facebook, really easy. Just Taylor Quintini is the handle for both.
Taylor, what about your business?
Oh, yes. And then Weddings Tailor Made, which Taylor's like my
If
name.
you need the best wedding planner in the
all of
United
the
States.
of-
Oh, wow.
especially the state of Louisiana.
What a
New
New
compliment.
Orleans, especially.
That's right. Well, yes, Weddings Tailor Made, and our business is Jolie Rentals. Jolie means pretty.
Yep.
And so we deliver all the pretty. So for any type of event,
Correct me if I'm wrong. What is Maggie's middle name?
Jolie, which is
Okay.
also my mom's.
Yeah, I remember having that discussion whenever y'all, and I was like,
Yeah.
I like Jolie. I think it's a great name.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, for those of you who know me, you can find me at takethejourney.tv. One of the pastors there. I also have a podcast called the Father Focus Podcast. It's a podcast by three guys, four fathers. I love doing that. And hey, would love to see you all at Journey Church, getting to know you as our church grows. And we got great pastors. And
They're all right.
yeah. But yeah, so happy to be here.
Well, thank you guys for coming out and being a part of the podcast
Thank
today.
you for having us.
And I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. It's been a lot of fun to interact with Jeremy and Taylor, to hear all about their family. Please like, subscribe, share, give us a review, and we look forward to spending some time with you in the next episode. Until then, I'm Jay,
And I'm Stacey.
and this is Love Like Crazy.